Hey, welcome to Apostolic Praise 203, Mastering Transcribing Songs by Ear. And in this course, we're going to be learning how to listen to a song, whether it's on an album or a track or whatever, and actually get the chords and learn how to play that song simply by listening to it. Transcribing songs by ear is simply being able to listen to a song and then figure out and write down the chords. It is the secret to never getting stuck in a rut. And that, to me, is one of the most important things for you to learn as a musician, because you're going to come to places where it seems like, you feel like you've learned all there is to learn. You're going to feel like maybe you don't know where to go, you don't know what to learn more, and maybe you've gone to the top of all the Apostolic Praise courses and you still want to just have that lifetime of learning, which is what music's all about. And the best way to do that is to being able to listen to CDs, listen to albums, listen to tracks, and get the fills and runs that you're hearing off of those tracks. That's what transcribing songs by ear and mastering transcribing songs is all about. So I like to say that I've studied and played with some of the greatest musicians in the world, and the reason I can say that is because I've done it through listening to them. I haven't necessarily sat down with them personally in person, but I've listened to their CDs and listened to their fills and runs and figured out enough stuff that they're doing where I can apply that to my music, and that's kind of where you're getting your own style comes in as well. And the best part about this, it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay anybody to give you this lesson. You just have to listen to it and figure out how to do it. Alright, so there's a couple of things that we have to learn how to do, we have to work on in order to be able to transcribe songs by ear. The number one most important thing is you have to be able to pick out a bass line. Okay, you have to be able to pick out a bass line. So your left hand is little bass man on the piano. So you're going to have to be able to pick out the bass line. This is the most important part. And it's not really easy, I'm a bass player as well, so to me it came a little natural just to be able to do that, and I naturally listen to the bass and to what it's doing. But to you, maybe as just a piano player that doesn't necessarily play the bass, there's two ways you can do it. You can either learn how to play the bass, or you can learn to recognize the left-hand bass fills and runs. So we're going to make that easy for you. I had to kind of figure it out myself on the hard way. We're going to try to make it as easy as possible for you. The second way is to be able to pick out a melody line. And pretty much anybody can do this. Any child can sit down and pick out, Mary Had a Little Lamb. That's all picking out a melody line is. Just picking out the melody of the song. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb. It's real simple, okay? So those are the first two steps. The third step, however, is kind of a mesh between the two. It's be able to look at the bass note, the melody note, and then fill in the missing notes to make your right-hand chord. Okay, so let's say you listen to this song, you figured out all the bass notes. And now you're adding the melody notes, you've got all that going at one time. But now what you need is you need to know what actual chord to play in your right hand, okay? Kind of just using Mary Had a Little Lamb as a little silly example there. But that's what you got to learn how to do, is learn how to fill in those chords, so that you know what to do, and you know what other notes to play in your right hand, whether it's an A minor or C minor. Now we learned that through chord theory. We learned that through playing by ear, learning how to recognize the different kinds of chords. One of the best ways to do this is to play all of the chords in all their inversions, all of the sevenths. When you learn those sevenths, we go over this in former lessons too, but be sure to play all of those sevenths and all of their inversions, and do it with the dominant sevenths, the minor sevenths, the major sevenths, any kind of seventh, any kind of ninth you can think of, and that will teach you, when you're doing that every day, it'll teach you to recognize those chords. Now, that's not the most important thing. For now, what I want to focus on in this lesson, the very number one first thing you have to do when you're going to master a song, or you're going to transcribe a song, you've got to find out what key that song is in. Okay, now the way that you want to do this is, there's a couple of keys that we can use, a couple of different tricks that we can do. Now usually, the main way you can find what key a song is in is whatever that key that song is in, you're going to have to say it's in the key of C. That means no matter where that song is at, a C note is going to sound good in that song. So, okay, you listen to this song, it's in the key of C, maybe you're playing an F. Okay, an F may sound kind of good because it's in the same major scale. A G may sound kind of good because it's in the same major scale, but it's not always going to sound right. Now, but when you play that C note, no matter where you're at in that song, because it's in the key of C, it's always going to sound good. Now there's a couple of other tricks I like to use as well. I like to also use this little trick here, 5-6-1, 5-6-1. So, you know, the little 5-6-1 fill, you can use that pretty much anywhere you're at in the song. So if that fill sounds right when you're listening to it, when you're playing it, no matter where in the song you're at, if you're in the key of C, no matter where the song's at in that key, that fill's going to sound right. Okay? So let's say we're in the key of F. See how it sounds good no matter what key I'm on, whether it's the 1, the 4, the 5, the 6, 2, 1. Okay, now if you're trying the one, that trick, say the song's in the key of F, and you're trying that. There we go. Okay, so you see how you're trying it in other keys and it's not sounding right because we're in the key of F. The bass player is playing the key of F, and you're trying to do a fill in a different key. But if you're in whatever key you're in, you can use that 5-6-1 until it sounds good to figure out what key you're in. Okay, so make sure you get that 5-6-1 down in every single key. All right, C, D flat, D, E flat, E, F, G flat, G, A flat, A, B flat, B, and then C again. All right, and it's probably, you're probably already familiar with that little 5-6-1 fill in this advanced level course. All right, so those are a couple of tricks you can use to find out what key it's in. Of course, the best way, to me, that's my favorite way to do that, is that 5-6-1 thing. But remember, just keep playing that 1, and whatever key the song is in. If it's in the key of C, that C is going to sound good anywhere in the song. If you're in the key of A flat, that A flat is going to sound good everywhere in the song. Now the E flat, say we're in the key of A flat, that E flat might sound good most of the song too. But when it resolves at the end there, and that's another trick you can use too. If you listen to the beginning of the song and the end of the song, typically will start and end on the 1 chord. That's not always the case, but for the most part it is. So and after a while too, with this whole playing by ear thing, you'll kind of get a feel for that 1 chord. When I'm listening to a song, I can tell that it's on the 1 chord just by listening to it, and that's something that you'll just learn to recognize, because you'll say, hey, you know what, that has that 1 chord sound to me. I know that that's the 1 chord right there. And as soon as you know that it's on the 1 chord right there, you can do 2 things. You can either stop the track from playing, and you can figure out that note. You can listen to the bass player, figure out that note, stop it right there, or you can do a little 5-6-1 fill and see if it works. There's a couple options for you there. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Hopefully this is kind of making sense. That's the very first key. If you're going to do anything, if you're going to learn how to play songs off a CD, the number 1 thing you have to do is learn to find what key it's in. And that works great for you too, no matter if you're going up, playing in a church, somebody throws you on the platform, and they say, hey, you know what, can you play tonight? And you're kind of just trying to follow along behind somebody. You don't have to keep asking them, what key is this song, and what key is that song, and what key do you play this in? Instead, you can just figure it out yourself. But sometimes they're going to forget to tell you what key they're in, and you don't want to be that musician that's always having to ask what key it's in. Learn how to figure out what key it's in. Okay, so it works in a variety of scenarios, whether it's listening to a CD and playing with it, or whether you're playing at church somewhere and you want to be able to figure out what key they're in. Okay, so that's there's going to be a couple of songs that we're going to play for you, a couple of tracks that we provided for you in your student homeroom and in your folders online, where you can go into lesson 1 and you can listen to those songs. I believe the songs are like He's an On-Time God, Surround Me, O Lord. So go in there, try to figure out what key they're in using these tricks that we just used, and you'll find you'll need to answer the questions in your homework. Try to guess. The answers are on the last page, but try to figure it out without looking at it, without looking at the answers. Go try to figure out what the keys the songs are in using those tricks. Try to find the 1, and then use the 5-6-1 trick, and those are going to be your main 2 keys to learning and figuring out what key that a song is in. All right, so God bless, and we'll see you back here shortly for lesson 2.